I don't think so.
Don't fall for the words coming out of people's mouths. All right?
I have to.
No. There's a lot of people screaming, I don't need a relationship. I don't want a man. I don't need a man, blah, 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 blah. But behind closed doors, they are still craving that. They still desire it. Men and women, they want a relationship. But they want a real one. They want one that they don't have to worry about getting played. They want one where they can trust this person is going to pour into their needs. They want a real, healthy relationship. And so the problem is a lot of those people who say, I don't need or I don't want one, is because they don't believe a good one exists. All right? They don't think that's realistic in today's world. So rather than get my hopes up high, let me just convince myself I don't want it. But even if you can honestly say right now, or you've convinced yourself to believe that right now you don't want it, watch in a few years. You know, at some point it catches up to you. Your true desire cannot be suppressed forever. And it's gonna come to the surface and you're gonna realize, no, you did want it. And now you gotta look back because now you've wasted all these years BSing yourself, all right? Running amok, living life however, not working on you, not becoming the partner that the kind of individual you would want in return. And so now you're starting from square one when you finally realize, damn, I really want this and I can't keep trying to deny this.
I have a rebuttal to that.
Rebuttal away.
So, do you feel like relationships were more in 2010 versus a 2020? Like, are they more common in 2010? Or are they more common in 20? Like the number wise.
Number wise, yeah. Okay, so I would say they were more common in 2010 than 2020. Yes.
Why you think that is?
Because people are jacked up, and people are. Again, they have such negative perceptions of love and relationships. People are jaded. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't look at it in a positive light anymore. When people say, I don't want a relationship, what they're saying is, I don't want the headache I believe comes with a relationship. I don't want the drama, the hurt, the disappointment that comes with it. But the reality is that you can have a relationship without all of that. You can have a healthy one, but again, they don't think that exists. Now, I will say that the internet, and more specifically IG, has made it harder, in my opinion. I used to always say it's not social media, it's the person. And I still believe, listen, relationships don't fail because of social media. Social media exposes what was wrong in that relationship. But IG has really affected people's perceptions of what's realistic, of what they're looking for. I think men getting caught up in what they're seeing online with some of these women and projecting that onto other women. Women now getting caught up in wanting more lavish lifestyles, and that's altered their willingness to work with a guy who may not be rich. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of impact coming from what social media and specifically what Instagram is showing people.
Yeah, because I feel like they'd rather be single, you know, make their money, live independently. If you look at some of the women rap artists, how they live in their life, and even their IG models, how they live in their life single, you know, doing what they want, have their own control, ain't got to worry about a man. You know what I mean? If they do get in a relationship, it's going to be, you know, with the rich guy that can spoil them, that can sponsor them, that can, you know, take care of them. If it's not that guy, then I might as well just get the bag myself. That's why I feel like nowadays, a lot of women don't want and be in a relationship unless it's one of those.
But again, you falling for the hype and the lies.
Okay.
All right. There's a smoke screen going on. So for example, there's this esthetician I go to, and she has a lot of IG models as her clients. And she told me, she said, look, don't be fooled. These women, when they come to her for their appointments, are all they're talking about is how they want a man, how they want a relationship. What they're showing you on IG is not the reality of what they're expressing in their real life. You know what I'm saying? It's just that one, some of these women don't want to show that they got a man because they're afraid about the next woman coming to try to snatch them up. All right. So now you have this whole thing where they don't even show the dude's face if they do post them on the internet.
A lot of girls do that.
Exactly. Exactly. So many of them are either in a relationship or working towards one or hoping for one to happen, but they don't want to seem like they're pressed for one. You know what I'm saying? Also, they don't want other women talking trash about, oh, well, you want a relationship, but you over here still single. You know what I'm saying? So let me act like, nah, I'm good the way I am. And even when you mention rappers, Yo, a lot of these rappers is in relationships.
Yeah.
Some of them even married. I was just telling some dudes, like, some of your favorite rappers are married and you would never know it. People are fronting online. So again, they want relationships, but people are trying to give off this image of I'm good single, I'm fine, I don't need this, blah, 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 blah. It's lies, man. It's all lies.
Okay, maybe the one, you might be right. But how they had the way to get there is like when they projecting all these lies, it's like you're not gonna end up getting what you truly desire.
That's what some of them don't realize. You can't project and front like that and think it's gonna work in your favor and you're gonna get what you're looking for. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Because now, for example, if you're a woman, and let's say you're even one of these IG models, and there are dudes who want to get at you, but now they think you don't want a relationship. They think you're independent, whatever, then you're going to have less opportunities of good quality men shooting their shot because they think you're not on that. Whereas the dude who just wants to fly you out and have sex with you, he don't care. He don't care if you are happy to be single, whatever, because if anything, he's glad you claiming you happy to be single. Because he don't want that problem in his life. He just want to enjoy himself with you and be out. So yeah, they don't realize how that putting that out into the atmosphere is actually working against them.
So if you say you believe that women want relationships, what do you think the kind of guy women are looking for?
Financially stable.
Okay.
Number one.
Is there a number to that, or is just
A specific number?
or is it just like, high surplus with your no amount of money you make and mine's your expensive?
I think it depends, and I don't want this to sound bad.
It's about to sound
But I think it depends on the quality of the woman or her self-perceived quality.
Okay,
All
bring
right?
that down for the people. Bring it down.
Well, I mean,
That biggest
listen,
of a whole.
if the woman perceives herself as this highly desirable woman, bad B, queen, whatever, her willingness to work with a dude who's not making, I don't know, and I'm just throwing out a random number. Let's just say 75K, 100K is less likely. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have that perception of self, you're much more willing to widen your options and deal with guys who may not be there financially. Yeah. So I think it really depends on the person's self-esteem, their confidence, how they perceive themselves. You know what I'm saying? So financial stability is definitely one of those things. I will always say it. Women want masculine energy, period. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones who screaming against it desire masculine energy. That's what women are drawn to. So I feel they want that. I have to say again, financial stability. I know I said it the first time, but I really think in today's world, it's become even more of an issue. And again, the ones who say it's not, I feel like some of them are fronting. Like, yeah, you can deal with it initially, but after a certain amount of time, you're going to get tired of the fact that this dude don't make a good amount of money or isn't stable enough to take care of certain things. You know what I'm saying? And in today's world where I feel like more and more people are traveling, like it's almost like your financial position is also determined on, can you take me on vacation? Yeah. Can we go places? Because again, once upon a time, traveling wasn't as prevalent as it is now. But now with IG and everyone going all these different places, a lot of people are looking at that. But again, I think there are plenty of women out there who don't care about the money as much, don't care about the traveling as much. But unfortunately, are these the women that a lot of men are desiring? And if they're not, then there's still a disconnect because they can say, okay, I'm cool with that. But the kind of guy they want is not necessarily wanting them all the time. And vice versa. It's the same thing that happens with dudes who aren't financially stable. So, I mean, what else? What else do women want? I mean, in general, again, I think women want masculine energy. I think women want financial stability. I think women want more honesty and transparency. I think women want men who know how to hold a damn conversation. And I say it like that because a lot of dudes don't know how to hold a conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so that's been a problem for a lot of people while trying to date and get to know each other. So, and with knowing how to hold a conversation, men who are better at communication. And men who are about something in their life, you know what I'm saying? Who have some kind of vision, have some kind of plan, you know what I'm saying? Who don't have to be carried on the woman's back, who can stand on their own 2 feet. You know, I think that's what women truly desire. But I think there's just still a disconnect because even the ones who want that, if that kind of guy came their way, they wouldn't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just talking to this other dude the other day, like you got women who say, I want that successful man. Then you get with him and now you stressing him out because he does what he does to be successful. He's busy, he's working, he's hustling, and you don't know how to deal with that no more. You know what I'm saying? Or you want this really good looking guy, but then you getting jealous because all these women are on his IG hitting him up. Even though he ain't doing nothing, you feel some kind of way. So a lot of women have to ask themselves, can you even handle being with the guy you say you want? And a lot of them, aside from the 2 reasons I just gave you, when we add they have not healed, then oh my goodness, that now it's like, yo, this it's a struggle. It's a struggle, which adds to more of the disconnect because now, can you think about that conundrum? We have all these people who want this type of individual, but aren't truly ready to handle that type of individual. And so now you either settle or you convince yourself about being happy being single.
Yeah. And one of the things, like, to what you shared, I feel like for a lot of the average guy, like they're struggling because I personally think that the female standard everyone has went up a notch. You know what I mean? If you were driving, Toyotas, now you Lexus. You know what I mean? Everybody, Hondas, Acuras, everyone went up a notch. And so I feel like for the average everyday guy, back in the early 2000s and 90s, the girls that were checking for you, they don't check for you anymore because they want the guy who can take them on vacation and fly them out and have, the picture perfect relationship on IG. So I feel like a lot of the average guy today is struggling because I feel like the women's standards have went through the roof.
Yeah, I think because, again, going back to IG, women are now seeing other women get this treatment.
Yeah.
So before you could convince yourself, well, listen, you're really lucky to come across this, but now it seems in abundance, you know what I'm saying? Or greater abundance than it once was before. And so that makes it harder to accept less than that. You know what I'm saying? But again, I still think that there are plenty of women. I think a lot of times when we talk about these issues, we're really talking about the desirable people. All right, or the highly desired, meaning there's maybe, let's say 80% of women are not, again, the girl on IG. They're not the women that all these men are chasing after, whatever. And when I say average, I mean just common women, but nice women of all types of different backgrounds, whatever. But when we say women want money and they're so focused on the financial and flying them out, I feel like we're really focusing on the 20% that the men are chasing after, to where they're having that thrown in their face. Yeah. All right. Same thing on the flip side. It's like, when women say men are dogs or men don't know how to be faithful, you're really focusing on the top 20%. These dudes who have so many options and don't know how to control themselves. But the 80% of dudes who just want one woman who would just be happy in a relationship, we're not focusing on them. So it skews our perceptions of things. So I do think, again, there are tons of women and men who aren't buying into this, these raised expectations, these raised standards. Even though I agree with you, it has gone up a notch. And I think even with amongst those 80%, it's still gone up, but I think the 20% has jumped it up a lot more. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. What men are now expecting their woman to look like is different than what it was 10, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And what women are expecting for that man to have in his pockets is different than 10, 20 years ago. But I would argue that the majority would just be happy to have a relationship. But, everybody has a level of pickiness somewhere, whether they want to acknowledge it or not.
Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there.
You've been hurt. You've been let down, and I get it, but guess what? The same walls you have to protect you are the same walls blocking your blessings. You cannot love and receive love when you are walking in fear every day.